back to the Blue Jays Today Show, where today, guys, we are talking and reacting to that series against the Colorado Rockies where they broke franchise records. It feels like they just keep breaking records. They broke the records in hits. They broke the record in runs scored. We saw homer after homer after homer after homer after homer. Multiple homers for multiple players in this series. We're going to look at that, react to that, talk about some good things that happened. Not a lot of bad things, actually, if at all. Nothing bad happened in this series. And then we're going to look forward at that LA Dodgers series because we've been posting about it online. Oh my God, this series has been so awesome. But we keep seeing comments being like, we'll see what happens when they get to LA. And I totally hear where people are coming from.
Sure.
This is the bottom feeder Rockies. But there is something to be said about absolutely kicking ass against the Rockies, one of the worst teams in baseball, setting records. Let's get into it, folks. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And to all those people that say it is just the Rockies, I hear you. I agree with you. They are a horrendous ball club. That was proven countless times during the series. I mean, one play that stands out to me is that one play where they could have had an out in foul territory and the catcher and the third baseman ran into each other, and it's just like, this is horrendous baseball, you know, AA, AAA level stuff at best. So I hear what those people are saying. It's a bad opponent. You're supposed to beat up a bad opponent. But to those individuals, I would also argue this. Has anyone put up, how many runs was it?
45.
45 runs against the Rockies in a 3-game series this year? Has anyone done that?
I don't know.
Other than the Blue?
I don't know.
Because I don't actually know either. So genuine question. But I would bet my bottom dollar that the answer is probably no.
I didn't see any tweets about it from MLB. We got a tweet from MLB.
45 runs scored, 63 hits. That is nuts. 63, 21 hits on average every single game against the Colorado Rockies and an average of 15 runs. I am going to toot my own horn here where I said the Toronto Blue Jays would at least score 30 runs in total against these Rockies in the series. They surpassed that. They excelled in that. I didn't know if they would get to 40, but holy mother of God, they did.
Yeah.
And they set a franchise record.
They quite literally impressed the shit out of me. And again, to those people being like, well, it's just the Rockies. Well, A, you have to beat them. You know, you had to sweep them in this series. But the way that you did it just showed, and honestly, it just made a statement in front of the entire MLB that you don't care who's in front of you. You're going to beat them relentless. I mean, frick, in that last inning, like against the Rockies, when they throw just some like position player, let's just score 8 more runs. Let's just do it, because why not? Because we're the Toronto Blue Jays. And it's just dominant fashion, right? And look, like, you got to pad your stats. And people always saying like, oh, you know, now their stats are padded. It's like, it's kind of fluky. There's asterisks now because it's the Rockies. Everyone's going to face the Rockies this year. You got to take advantage of them, and they did. So that's a good job by the Toronto Blue Jays.
Again, for those individuals who are saying, oh, okay, you're stat padding and whatever, these stats don't mean anything. Again, I hear you. It's the Rockies. Yeah, like, did those 8 runs really mean something when you're comparing them to, like, did that home run that we hit in the 9th inning there against their position player mean the same as a home run against Tarek Skubal? Maybe not.
No,
but
not at all.
Toronto Blue Jays, they play the Rockies 3 times a year. The LA Dodgers play them 13.
Exactly.
And the San Francisco Giants play them 13 times. And so what about all those guys when at the end of the year I look at Shohei Ohtani? I'm not going to go, oh, you know what? No, I don't think he deserves the MVP because he had a 2 OPS against the Rockies, and that doesn't count. It all counts the same. The Toronto Blue Jays not only did what they were supposed to do, they manhandled the Colorado Rockies. And for me, that is why this series means something. It would be one thing if they walked in there and they swept, but, you know, oh, we won 5-3, and then we won 6-5, and it was a close thing. No, this was not close. These games were very, very one-sided, so much so that we were breaking records.
Well, let's talk about the individuals in this series that did very well. We got to give them a lot of credit. You know, again, it's just the Rockies, but we're going to give them credit. Look at the stats, guys. And honestly, this morning, I looked up these stats, and I had to take a moment and step back and just admire how good this Blue Jays roster looks right now. Looking at the position player side of things, just look at this, folks. Yes, you can look at the home runs. I'm ranking them by home runs. Don't worry about that. Look at the OPSs over here. 879 from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We have a video coming out tomorrow breaking down in depth how good he's been and why and how he's doing it. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Then you got George Springer. Obviously, he's hurt right now. We got an update on him a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned. 889. Varsho is the freaking man. He's still got an 823 OPS. Bichette at 815. He's having himself one hell of a second half. Then you got Daulton Varsho coming back into the fold. He hits 3 homers actually in that series. Just phenomenal to see here, Nick.
Yeah, and then to continue going there, I mean, Lucas is providing, Kirk is providing, Davis Schneider is doing stuff, Ernie Clement had a great series. Like, this lineup is, or it hasn't been this deep since 2021. It has not been this deep. We've had moments in time, like last year, for instance, where, okay, you have that bright and shining, like 900 OPS coming from Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and he's doing awesome. And then he's sandwiched between two guys who couldn't hit the broadside of a baseball, or a barn, like they literally they couldn't do anything. And this season, that's just not the case. Like, he can have a bad day, and he's entitled because he can be picked up by Varsho and by Bichette and Nathan Lucas getting on base. And you look at their last 7 days. Now, a lot of this is impacted by this series that just transpired, but there is a lot of people who have been one of the best players in all of baseball. Bichette, in the last 7 days, has been the #1 player in all of baseball. So this lineup is deeper than I have seen it in years, and I feel like, unlike 2021, we might actually have the bullpen and pitching staff to be able to then go on a bit of a run, because that year we didn't.
Yeah, I agree, right? I mean, that year, obviously, we were really good at the home run ball and the long ball. 14th right now in baseball, which is still decent.
It's getting better as the season goes on.
But how could you complain about first in average, first in OPS, 5th in runs scored? So for me, that's what is most important. Like, yeah, there's OPS. I really love OPS. But if I'm just looking at what is a good offense, you score runs. It's that simple.
Pretty much, yeah.
They're a top 5 offense in baseball at this point. And again, for the longest time, to your point, you didn't need Vladdy to be Vladdy or Bo to be Bo. But right now, you're seeing an offense that has Vladdy and Bo, and everybody around them is doing well. Yeah, you got some injuries to Kirk recently. You had some injuries to George Springer, who's still on the IL right now. But now you're seeing these two guys start to get hot, and now they're starting to lift up this offense and be even better than they were before. Since the All-Star break, we'll have this stat flashed up in our podcast tomorrow, but I want to bring up again just how cool it is.
Yeah.
Bichette's #1 in hits since the All-Star break with 34, and then tied for second is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with 31. Those are two studs lifting up this team, making this offense way better.
100%, man. Those are the guys. And for many years, we were saying, as were a lot of Toronto Blue Jays analysts and reporters and just everyone in baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays will go when Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. are going. And that is the core of this squad. That is the identity of this team. You are seeing that identity take shape right now. And this is the first time, I think, in several years where I can actively go, wow, like those two, they are both cooking at the exact same time. And we can just see how dangerous that really is when both of them are doing so well.
Yeah.
I put a video out about this yesterday, and I see some people, Brady in the chat right now, saying Bichette is gonna, or a big contract, coming for Bo. Now, in the video that I posted out yesterday, I actually specifically reached out to Keegan Matheson, who we've had on the show several times. Awesome guy. I'm sure you've read his articles or seen his tweets or what have you. I was asking about what he thinks Bichette is going to be worth based on his current play. He texted back, he said, "It's all guesswork, but I would bet on the over for the total money," in reference to Willy Adames' $182 million contract, because I expect him to get more than 7 years given the age he's hitting the market at. What are your thoughts on Bichette right now? his incoming free agency, what you think he is going to be worth, I can safely say no longer are we in the conversations of Bo Bichette signing a 1-year prove-it deal. Now it is, okay, 6, 7, 8, 9-year type of contract, I think, that he's probably looking at, because he's proven that 2024 was just a complete hiccup.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say right there. I think everyone can forgive 2024 because he was injured, guys. Let's not forget that. He played half the season barely, and when he was on the field, he was hurt, and he was pushing through it because the Blue Jays, same reason why they kept putting Aaron Judge in the lineup right now, is because the Blue Jays needed him to save the season. They needed him to play every day and get good and be Bo Bichette, but he was obviously hurt. You throw that a whole year in the trash can. You look at this year, this is exactly who Bo Bichette is. And if you look at the track record, it's easy to convince yourself from a team perspective to go get him that big contract. I like the Willie Adames comparison because with Willie Adames, you got the power, and it's maybe a little bit more money at his age, whereas Bo Bichette is a little bit younger than a Willie Adames, but he's missing a couple attributes, which is the defense and the sprint speed is completely falling off the table. So if you're just looking at a pure hitter, the guy in the 100th percentile expected batting average who's been doing that for several seasons is the guy you want to spend the money for. And you look at the RBIs, you look at the runners in scoring position, that feels like it makes it make sense if you want to give him a Willie Adames type of contract for like 6 years.
100%, man. And again, I encourage you guys to go watch the video that I put out yesterday. I deep dive into Bo Bichette and what his contract could be. But once again, to throw it back to what Keegan said, because I love how you brought up the defense and the sprint speed, because so did Keegan. He said that Bo's market is going to have a huge gap between its floor and its ceiling. He's expecting teams to project his defensive future very differently. So while one team may be able to see a shortstop, another team might see a second baseman or third baseman with declining speed.
Definitely
and then
baseman.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, this is Keegan's words right here. I'm just reading them off, but yeah, probably not a third baseman right there. But either way, an infielder with declining speed, and then clearly you're going to have, different financial expectations for both of those things. Ultimately, for me, I see Bo Bichette right now as just being like a really strong hitter in MLB. And there is something to be said for the fact that this guy is leading all of baseball, not by 1 or 2 or 3 hits, but we are talking by a wide margin. When it just comes to pure hitting, Bo Bichette is there alone at the top with 145 hits to Manny Machado's 133. So we are talking that Manny Machado would need to go 4 for 4 in 3 games straight to tie Bo Bichette's 145.
Assuming Bo goes 0
Assuming
for 12
Bo Bichette doesn't goes 0 for 12, which he won't do because he's batting 300 and batting like close to 400 since the All-Star break. So I think he is going to be worth a crap load. I think that at this point, the Toronto Blue Jays would be stupid not to really go hard in the paint to try to get this guy back. And I want to give Josiah a quick shout out here because for me, this feels like a beautiful round number that makes a lot of sense. $200 million, 8 years, $25 million average annual value. I think that checks a lot of boxes, and that feels right considering the defense, the speed, but then also the fact that you are just a pure hitter.
Yeah, he is, and Bo Bichette becomes an all-star when he finally finds that power stroke back, which he's starting to find right now. I took a bet earlier in the year, and it's been sitting in my FanDuel account all season, for Bo Bichette comeback player of the year. So shout out to me.
That feels good. Yeah.
I mean, like, how much more of a bounce back do you really need to be literally leading the league in hits?
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
The problem with that is, like, you're gonna be. You guys let us know in the comments down below, like, what you folks think. You're gonna have some tough competition because there's gonna be people out there looking at Jacob deGrom and going, "Ooh, that guy's doing pretty good." So there is other. Yeah, exactly. I see. If deGrom collapses and Bo keeps doing what he's doing, then you might be in for it. But he will certainly be in the conversation, undeniably.
Well, you guys let us know your thoughts about Bo Bichette in the comments down below. Before we move on and talk about another segment, let's give a quick shout out here to Budweiser, everybody. Batters up, and the Buds are stepping up to the plate. Budweiser is encouraging all Buds to make time for baseball this summer. It is the official partner of your Toronto Blue Jays, because baseball is better with your Buds. Limited edition Toronto Blue Jays Budweiser cans are now available at your local LCBO. We're going to be doing some fun things with Budweiser soon, so stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah, should be an awesome time. Go check them out. Legal drinking age, of course. Let's transition a little bit here and talk about the power surge that the Toronto Blue Jays are seeing. I know that they're only ranked 14th in home runs right now, but consider that it was only a month or 6 weeks ago that they were close to 25th, 26th in home runs. And I remember having to make Instagram shorts and TikToks about that. Now they're 14th. And a big reason why we've started to see that resurgence in power is Daulton Varsho. Guy's been back, I think, less than a week at this point.
He's played 5 games.
5 games. And what, 3 home runs?
3 home runs. Again, Coors Field effect, you can make that argument, but I think you saw those homers the other night, and you say, well, he would hit it out of the ballpark in any ballpark. And also, he's been doing it before his return on the IL. Daulton Varsho has 11 homers in his limited time. I made a short talking about this. I think if you averaged it out, it'd be about 50 home run pace that he's on right now. And I brought up this point, obviously it's like woulda, shoulda, coulda kind of stuff right here. But when you look at the rest of this Blue Jays team and you're seeing, a bounce back from George Springer, career years from, you could argue, Bo Bichette at this point, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. having another great year, Kirk having a bounce back year, Silver Slugger, and then Varsho breaking out. You have to wonder, what if Varsho was healthy all year long? It's obviously woulda, shoulda, coulda. But when he was healthy, he was popping homers every other game.
100%,
so you got to imagine what he'd be like in a full season.
Yeah, and this is, I think, the best that we've seen Daulton Varsho, or at least I've seen Daulton Varsho swing the bat. I think it's extremely reassuring that this isn't the first moment in the season where we have seen this. If prior to him being injured, he was not playing very good, and then comes back and hits 3 bombs, it'd be like, oh, this is awesome, but I don't think that I can expect this to continue. And I'm not saying that he's going to be hitting home runs at will for the remainder of the season, because I think we mapped it out and it was something like 56 home runs that he would be on pace for if he was to play at this level, his season-long level, all year long, all 162 games. So that's crazy. I don't think Daulton Varsho is necessarily that guy.
What about 35? What about a career high?
Over 30 home runs, right? That player that we thought we traded for from Arizona. The whole thing was, well, he doesn't have great contact, but he does have power. And then when he came to Toronto, we didn't really see that. It was like 20 home runs here, 18 there. This season he's got 11, and he's played in 28 games. Again, not saying that it's going to continue for the rest of the season, but clearly he has figured something out in his swing. You see the OPS chilling at 858. That's crazy. You factor in the defense, too. You're looking at a very valuable asset.
Very valuable asset. We always talk about if Daulton Varsho can hit, he'd be very well worth it, which kind of brings up my next point here. Daulton Varsho, obviously, I'm excited to see how he finishes this season. I hope maybe he can get on a great run and eclipse 20 homers in what would be a half a season. That would be insane. But with that being said, it's exciting to think about how he could maybe build off of that for next year, right? Because he's got 1 year left on his contract, then he's an unrestricted free agent. It'll be interesting to see how he can build off that. And I wonder if you're Ross Atkins, this is all hypothetical here, I wonder if you're Ross Atkins, and if you see him have a good stretch here down the line for the rest of the season, you maybe cash in, maybe pay him now before the value gets too high. I'm maybe talking on my ass because it's been 28 games, but you look at what Bo Bichette's doing, the value's going up. If he does this next year, Daulton Varsho at this pace and hits a career high in homers with that defense, that could be very expensive.
I don't think you're talking out of your ass. I do think, though, that they're going to run into the issue of timing, and I think there's just going to be a couple too many things that they have to deal with first on the docket. And I do bring up Bo Bichette, right? We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're talking about the offseason here. But when they make it to said offseason, assuming Toronto finishes with a successful season, assuming they go to the playoffs, and fingers crossed they at least win a round in the playoffs, I mean, what's first? You're going to be talking to Bo. That's obviously got to be number one. You're also going to have to address the rotation. You may or may not have Shane Bieber for next season, just, depending on what it is he decides to do with his contract. Chris Bassett is leaving. God only knows what Alek Manoah is. So I do hear what you're saying. I think that Ross Atkins is certainly going to be excited at the prospect of keeping Daulton Varsho here long term. And should any of the reporters ask him, would you like to extend Daulton Varsho? Guaranteed the answer will be an unequivocal yes. I just think that they're going to have other things that they got to deal with first before handling that.
Yeah, and I see some people in the chat saying, "Oh, Varsho's agent is Scott Boras." Now, correct me if I'm wrong. His agent is ISE Baseball. That's what I'm seeing on multiple pages right now. ISE Baseball. ISE Baseball. Is that like Scott Boras's?
Is that Scott Boras? Because
it's like I think Scott Boras Corporation is what other people have for their agents, but. Someone let me know in the chat because everyone started bringing that up, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, if he is Scott Boras' client, then yeah, dude's gonna hit free agency. He ain't taking no extension.
See, here's the thing: yes and no, though, because this is the best. Like to your point, this is the best that he's played offensively in probably his whole career, and it has been a very small sample size, but. Scott Boras is all about leverage, and Scott Boras is all about getting the maximum payday possible. If I was him, I would flirt with the idea of like getting that right now because you don't know what your client is going to do next year, right? He could revert back to a low 700 OPS and then he doesn't get that crazy payday. Just a thought. I don't think it's going to happen though because again, there are other things that they have to deal with. But point being, Daulton Varsho is playing out of his skin. And I love to see it. Quick shout out here to the chat here. We got 252 people in here. W's in the chat for what is the best community on the internet. I do see we got a Yankees fan in here. Yankees 4551.
Oh, no.
Thoughts on what's going on over there in New York? I almost feel bad. Almost. Not really. And also, Arasimi says, Nick was wrong. He said 30 runs this series.
That's right.
It was more. You're right. Yeah, I technically was right. I said that we were at least going to hit 30. If anyone was like,
right about that.
I was right about that. I did not say that we would hit 40 because that felt insane to me. And they went above and beyond. And the run differential on the Toronto Blue Jays is looking chef's kiss right now.
Yeah. I know I don't want to beat a guy when he's down, and we've already proven the point, but I wonder what Michael K is thinking right now, that run differential. Actually, let me take a look at that run differential. I've got the standings right here, everybody. Wow, that's really cool to see. Plus 55. We were at plus 16, by the way, on Monday before Monday night's
Walked
game.
Into that series like just a couple runs over the 0 point, basically, and now we're at plus 55.
Yep, pretty good stuff right there, guys. Let's give another shout-out to another sponsor right here on the Blue Jays Today Show. Shout out to Pizza, everybody. We've been repping the Pizza pretty hard so far. You got to try out the chicken tenders today, everybody. It's made with 100% Canadian farm-raised chicken and cooked to a crispy golden perfection. I finished them up the other night. I have them in the fridge. Still solid after a couple of days. Try them dipped or sauced up. You can get them in a mix and match special and a large 2-topping pizza, 4 chicken tenders, and a dip for just $19.99. Plus, you can get the 3 new flavors of mango, pineapple, chili crisp, chimichurri, ranch, and sweet and spicy bang bang pizza, everybody, because everybody deserves pizza. Let's move on. I want to give one more shout out because we've been glazing the offense.
Well, I mean, when they put up 45 runs in a series.
Obviously so. But because that happens and because they put up 45 runs in a series, we forget about some other performances from some guys. Gotta tip the cap to Kevin Gausman. You brought it up actually in the last show. And it's more of a funny thing, I think, rather than an actual, this will happen because, of the stats, where he goes up and down between each month, between being very elite and bad, very elite and bad. He was due for a bad month. In his first start in August, he was bad. However, this one was pretty good. He went 7 innings, only giving up 3 hits, 1 earned run. And granted, I know it's the Rockies, but they were the 3rd best OPS in baseball the last 15 days going into this series, plus it's Coors Field. You're going to give up a lot of hits in that big outfield. Only gave up 3 over 7 innings with 8 Ks. That goes to show how dominant he is. And I'm really hoping he continues this because if Kevin Gausman could be this level, man, going into October and down the stretch, man, that's going to feel really confident in a playoff series.
Yeah, the whole point that I was trying to make about that Kevin Gausman thing isn't that, he's good one month, bad the next month, and that means he's going to be good this month, or on the reverse, bad the next month. It's just the fact that he has been largely inconsistent all season long, which has been true, right? There's been stretches where he's been bad. There's been stretches where he's been very, very good. This past start was awesome. I'm not going to hold my breath for it, or expect him to continue that level against the following opponent. I'm just I think every Gausman start, we just got to take it as a fresh new day and understand that this could be an outing where the splitter isn't splitting. But if it is, then it doesn't matter who he's up against, right?
Yeah.
It really just comes down to, is that thing going to have the movement on it that it needs? In the previous start, I forget who he was up against, but in the previous start, it did not. I think it was Kansas City, yeah. It did not have the movement that it needed. In this last one, it did. And Colorado just could not get anything going offensively speaking. And when he is on, he is still looking like one of the best pitchers in baseball. It's just not every time that he is on.
Yeah, like at this point, I need him to have more consistency on stretch. It's been up and down, up and down. You know, it's fine. Like for me, I've always been the mindset of like, unless it's hurting your season, it's fine. Unless it's hurting your season, then what am I trying to say here?
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say, like, I'd rather have a pitcher be good in the second half. Like, if you're going to be inconsistent, but you're still in a winning team, that's fine. But if you're going to be good down the stretch, that's all I really care about if you're going into postseason, is what I'm trying to say. Same thing with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I bring that up all the time. Like, he was hitting a lot of ground balls in the first half, not being at his high potential, but now he's exploding. Same with Bichette. If you can keep that momentum, that's all that really matters if you really want to make a deep postseason run.
I agree to an extent. I mean, obviously, we have the luxury of being able to say that right now because the Toronto Blue Jays are #1 in the American League and they are #1 in the AL East.
Right, exactly.
So to your point, yeah, I mean, like when you're on a winning ball team, you have the luxury of being able to fuck around a little bit and have some down months, which Kevin Gausman has had. Now it's time to lock it in, though, because there is only going to be one team to win the World Series and go all the way, and that squad isn't going to have any inconsistencies. There will be no, sure, there might be a little bit of luck that goes their way in the month of October, but large in part, it will be because of good fundamental baseball. Right now, the Toronto Blue Jays, or at the very least in Colorado, they were playing great fundamental baseball, but there's some other squads out there that I see people in the chat getting concerned about. I mean, Boston is certainly a team that we have got to watch out for. They are 8-2 in their last 10 right now. Their run differential is +81, if you can believe that or not. So I know that run differential isn't everything, but they do have a better run differential than your Toronto Blue Jays, who are 5th in runs in terms of offense. So they're a scary squad. I'm very excited to see. When is actually the next time that we play the Boston Red Sox?
I believe it is the last week of the season, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. And they'll be confirm. They love to do that. I mean, I know why they love to do that to us, but damn, if it actually matters, like if it's one of those ones where, if they win this series, they win the division, or, whoever wins this series gets the bye. That's going to be tough.
Can you look up for me real quick while I'm looking at this, like what our record against Boston is? I believe it'd be in like Baseball Reference.
Yeah.
Because like depending on what happens in this series, it could be a big swing. Obviously, that would have to mean that the Red Sox are like super catch up because I believe they're 4 games behind us.
Yeah, they're still
4
a ways
games behind us. So like that's a positive thing right here, where they're 4 games behind. We've got a bit of breathing room, but we got to keep winning. Obviously, we have a tough series against the Dodgers coming up that we're going to predict momentarily. But they love to do that. You know what's funny, too? They always do it where they'll pair the teams that they expect to be in the division race together at the end, and then the ones who aren't supposed to be in the division race at the end. They paired Boston and Toronto and Tampa Bay all together because we were kind of the bottom feeders, and while the Orioles and the Yankees were at the top. But you still see right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 3 of the last 5 series. Actually, I can go more. You got 4 of the last 6 series against the AL East opponents. And yes, we're 7-3.
We're 7-3 against Boston. And looking around the league, so we're 7-3 against Boston. We're 4-3 against Detroit, who I believe we do not play again. Nope, we are 0-3 against Houston. So any tiebreaker. Okay, so we'd have to sweep them then to even tie in that regard. But I'm going to assume that they probably at least take 1 off there, so they will have the tiebreaker against us. But I think that is the only team that is likely to have the tiebreaker against us. New York can't do anything about it. Boston can't do anything about it.
We're 4-2 against Seattle.
Yeah.
That's good.
So Toronto should have, I mean, the Rangers, it would take a fucking miracle for them to catch us.
I'm assuming that we'd be in a wild card. You know what I mean? Fighting, things go to shit.
We don't play the Rangers again, so we would have the tiebreaker. We do. This is August now. Okay, so we do play them one more time. So it's possible that they could take the tiebreaker back from us, but as it stands right now, the only team likely to have a tiebreaker against the Jays would be Houston, And the only time that would matter really is, oh, well, we both have a really top record and, like we're competing for the bye or something like that. And they sneak in and we don't get the bye. So something to note right there. That is good news. Ultimately, that's a very good spot to be in. You control your own destiny.
You can, man. Speaking of controlling your own, actually, let's give one more shout out to a thing that I wanted to bring up before we move on to the LA Dodgers. Where's Unk? Everyone's wondering where's Unk, dude. This guy got hurt last week. He's still out. He might be out for a little bit longer. He was supposed to be back this weekend, but they want him to play in a rehab assignment first, but he hasn't gotten cleared yet. He was supposed to play last night, but he wasn't in the lineup. John Schneider says he's still going through everything. I think there still needs to be some tests done to see if he can get cleared for today. That was yesterday. He wasn't cleared, and he wasn't in the lineup. We'll hopefully see an update pretty soon if he is cleared. Maybe start, and he'll have to play a game on Friday because I believe they have an off day today, the Bisons. So he has to play again on Friday. Maybe he's back Saturday, Sunday at best, and they get him back over to LA. We'll have to see, folks, but it's tough. It's a little bit concerning that Unk isn't back, but hopefully the other boys can pick it up.
I'm actually really not concerned at all, to be honest. I think that I'm not concerned at all. What were we just talking about? About Bo Bichette last year and everything, rushing him back, and with Aaron Judge rushing him back. Unk's old. That's why we call him Unk.
Yeah, it's a concussion, I mean, it's not like an aggravated injury. He's gonna make sure he feels good.
But it's we're gonna take our time with this guy. We're not gonna rush him. We don't need him. We just put up 45 bombs, or not bombs, excuse me, but runs against Colorado in a series. Point I'm trying to make here right now is Toronto Blue Jays are, I think, operating their injured reserve this season better than I've seen them do it in the past. They're taking their time with effectively everyone, and that's because we have the luxury to do so. I want Unk, when he is ready, to be 100% locked in, feeling good, no headaches, no nothing. Right. And I think he should be when he comes back.
The only reason why I say I'm concerned is because you do got a very tough opponent this weekend. And
that's fair.
And good. Again, to agree with some of the people out there saying well, it was the Rockies. Yeah, it was the Rockies. Everyone's gonna dominate the Rockies, and we look real good, and we're feeling really high. But there are going to be times in this series where Bo's going to go 0-4. Or Vladdy's going to go 0-4, and et cetera, and other guys are going to go 0-4, especially Daulton Varsho, because he has low batting average. But Unk, he can do it, and I want to have that other piece of insurance. So obviously, I'm hoping the boys can pick up the slack for Unk missing time. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here this weekend.
Now, I know that we've talked about this before, but I did want to bring it up just one more time here. With Unk eventually coming back, and with Jimenez now starting these rehab games and everything like that, eventually the Toronto Blue Jays are going to have to make the decision as to who is going to be off this roster. Buddy Kennedy, as much as he is a fun story, he's gone.
He's going to be gone.
He's going to be gone. So let's assume that and it's going to be one of these three. You have to imagine Ty France, Miles Straw, or Davis Schneider. I don't think you can make an argument for any single other person. You might have in the past been able to argue for Loperfido, but the guy's got a 978 OPS. I mean, that would make zero sense.
Yeah.
Did anything change for you in the way that you're looking at that from this Colorado series?
Yeah, Davis popped off. Again, it was Colorado. We can always make those arguments. He popped off for 2 homers. Everyone had 2 homers, basically. But for me, Davis Schneider has an 837 OPS, and he's a big part of this team. He's on the thumbnail for a reason. We put up all the guys who were stars in that series on the thumbnails. Davis Schneider, man, reason why he's the obvious go-to. Miles Straw, you'd have to send him through waivers. Same with Ty France. And for me, I was giving him some time, Ty France, because we traded for him. And obviously, there's not a lot of time left in the season. Now that we're looking at it, it feels like a weird transaction because we are running into this problem where you've got Andres Jimenez coming back and you got Georgine to come back eventually. I honestly wouldn't be butthurt if we just cut Ty France and we're all right, that was a fun experiment. It was a toss into the Louis Varland trade, and let's cut him.
And you think that you would prefer that over Miles Straw? You think?
Correct, because he's providing some off the bench speed and defense if we really need be.
I think, it's tough.
Especially if Varsho gets hurt again, boom, Miles Straw's good defensively speaking.
That's the thing, right? I think I probably would also prefer to hold on to Miles Straw. But granted, I mean, like they did, like you said, just trade for Ty France, and that would be kind of a wild move to, after the guy gets only, a couple games. It's not like he's not pulling a Brad Hand. You know what I mean? Like he's not actively like killing this team or anything like that. He hasn't even really had time to like get established.
Well, it's just the fact that that's why it's a weird trade to begin with, because like that there's no way for you to play he's been playing this week because Unk's been hurt.
Right.
He's been able to slide in at a first base or DH for the Blue Jays, but once Unk's back, that's the DH spot. Vladdy's gonna play first base. Like you're not like that's your only way in the lineup where you've got Jimenez who's gonna play second every day, and then Ernie might go to the bench and play some sort of utility role, like be the perfect utility guy. Well, what do you do if you're Ty France? Like you're literally waiting for one opportunity. Miles Straw can pinch run and play anywhere in the outfield. Like it just doesn't make sense from a roster standpoint.
I get it, man. I do understand, and I think that if it was up to me, I would probably choose Miles Straw as well. I think that
to keep, you mean
to hold on to. That's right, to hold on to. I think after this Colorado series, I know it's Colorado, but it's just I don't think it's possible for them to send down Davis Schneider, and it's not because I think that Davis Schneider is like leading this team and going to be all the way back, but I think it's more to do about the message that it sends to the rest of the team, right? Like this guy's got an 830 OPS, he's hitting bombs, he's putting in the work, he's closer with the majority of that roster than Ty France or Miles Straw is.
Imagine this. You're Davis Schneider, you're with your boys, you're popping off, and then like this guy, Ty France, might be a nice guy. I don't really know.
Sure, yeah.
But he comes in, and then you're going to pick his roster spot over me when I'm way overperforming.
Exactly, yeah. I think it just sends a bad message, and I think that there would be some people in that locker room that maybe they wouldn't be angry, but they'd be like, yo, what the fuck? Some great ball. So I think that I learned anyways that after this Rocky series and with the way that he's playing and the overall playing time and everything, I don't think David Schneider's going. It is now between Ty France and Miles Straw for that final roster spot. We'll see where the Toronto Blue Jays inevitably decide to go with it.
Yeah, stream's lagging, guys. Just hit the refresh button. I see everybody talking about it. I see it lagging on our end too, but hit that refresh button, everybody. All right, let's move on and let's talk about the Dodgers. Before we do, we got to give one more shout out to another sponsor of the Blue Jays Today show, and that is Greta Bar, everybody. This weekend, August 9th, go check out Neiman Az's after party. The tickets are on Show Pass. It's going to be a great time. If you watch his stuff on TikTok, that's where I first found out about him. It's a great time. He's funny. He's hilarious. He's Toronto local. Again, not only a great spot to watch the game or play arcade games, but also get great street food. And it's also a great spot for your upcoming team building or corporate functions. Need somewhere to bring your team together for a good time? Check out Greta, 590 King Street West, Greta Bar. Let the games begin.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Nima, and like I'm not a huge comedy guy. I don't watch a lot of stand-up or whatever, but I do appreciate when a lot of the jokes are connected and or tailored to me. And he's a Toronto boy, so
exactly.
he might even make some jokes about the Blue Jays. I can't promise you, but like with the way that they're going, I wouldn't be shocked if he threw in a little sprinkle right there.
All right, well let's talk about this Dodger series because we put it in the title. They're next.
They are next,
and big time one.
This is obviously the test of all tests. We've done Detroit. We've handled the Yankees. We've been able to meet and match every single one of the tough opponents that we've been up against this year. But this team's the World Series champions, and they got Ohtani, and they got Teo, and there's like this. It feels like even though they're not our rivals, because they have those two guys, there is some type of rivalry right there. This is a good roster, man. How concerned are you about this roster and this series?
It's going to be a tough one, man. You're in Dodger Stadium, and you're going to have some tough matchups, everybody. Now, if we take look, let's be realistic, big picture here moment. If you take one of this series, that's okay. Getting swept is going to hurt like a beach because you just took 3 against the Rockies, and all that work was just a race. I'm okay with dropping 2. I'm thrilled if you beat 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, against the former World Series champions. So for me, that's my expectation going in. It's not like a prove it series, because let's be honest, they're in the NL, and if we're going to see them in the postseason, it means we're having a pretty damn good postseason run, and we're more than satisfied with this season. So they're not like the test. There'll be a test if you have World Series expectations, but let's just go there and just control what we can control. Play good baseball.
I think, it's not an all-telling thing if you lose to these guys, but I do think that it would just be one of those additional notches on your resume as to why you are the best team in baseball right now, and when walking into the playoffs, why I would be instilled with so much more confidence if you're capable of going into their home ballpark and handling them. Like, if you can do that, again, I've said this before, when we beat Detroit and we beat the Yankees, like, if you can do that, you can beat anyone.
Yeah,
and people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't work that way. I know it doesn't fucking work that way. It's an expression. It's an exaggeration. But if you walk into LA and beat them in a series, that's effectively the toughest test in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, they're stacked, man. On paper, they are the best team in baseball. Shout out to Ann Beacock right here real quick for sending a Blue Jays Today membership to Money Dude. Let's go.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Money Dude and Ann. Thank you very much.
W's in the chat. We appreciate both of you, and we appreciate the 272 people that are watching us today. I know this isn't our usual time for our Blue Jays Today show. Typically, we have it on Friday, but sadly, the boys are going to be out of town for this weekend, so figured we'd move it here, and the timing worked out great with the off day. Looking at game number 1, this is a fun matchup right here.
Super fun. Super fun. You know what's funny here? I got the Hazel May tweet right now. This was crazy.
I was thinking about that as well. I thought about this, exactly.
Yeah, back in the day when Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux were supposed to pitch against each other, but then I believe this was like late in the season and they scratched them and pushed them off. And then you had Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw when they were in their rookie years playing against each other. That was super cool. And now they get a rematch basically 20 years later. Scherzer versus Kershaw. Scherzer's on a new team in the Toronto Blue Jays. What are your thoughts on this one? First game heading into LA.
First, massive shout out here to Jennifer with the $699 dono saying Straw 100%. He is one of the reasons we are in first place and deserves to be with this team. And another good reasoning right there, right? You can make the same argument that I made about David Schneider, where it's like, well, hey, man, like this guy's been with us. Like he's putting in work. As with Miles Straw, and like, is Ty France really worth getting people upset about?
Yeah, seriously.
Something to think about right there. For this matchup, it's pretty clear, looking at the ERAs on the season, that there is one advantage here. Clayton Kershaw has been performing better this year. Good for him, actually. I've always liked Clayton Kershaw. I've always thought he's a pretty cool guy, and it was looking like his career was starting to taper off. This season, he has found it once again. Both of these guys are first ballot, unquestionable Hall of Famers. Scherzer's been playing really good, man, but I do think that I gotta understand the competition that we're up against here. It's LA, in LA, with a pitching advantage right here. Toronto Blue Jays have been hot as all holy hell, but I am going to give this one to the LA Dodgers. I'm not going to be ignorant as to the opponent that we were up against here.
Yeah, let's be realistic here, folks. Just got to drop this one. Scherzer might surprise a lot of people, though. He might come out, and if he builds off what he did in his last outing against the Royals, then I think, he might surprise a lot of people. He went 7 innings, or it was 7 or 6 innings. I think he went 6 innings last time out. 7 innings the time before that. He's having good. He's building up a good, back-to-back game log. So, if he does it against the Dodgers, I think we can all say, yeah, definitely Scherzer is back. But
yeah, and you'd be feeling great about that. Honestly, that's one of the big things I'll be looking for in this game. Even if the Blue Jays lose, give me 6 innings and keep it, 3 or under in terms of the earned runs. And then it's like, all right, you were capable of giving the offense a chance to win against LA, even if they weren't necessarily capable of doing so against Clayton Kershaw. But I think both of us are going to go LA Dodgers in this first one. I see 4-3 LA, 5-3 LA, 7-5 Jays, 8-4 Jays, 4-0 Jays. The fact that we even have a couple people going LA just goes to show how difficult this series is going to be, because this channel and this chat almost exclusively goes Blue Jays.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's game 1. It's closer than you might think, but we'll lean to the loss. Game 2, though, they haven't updated here on MLB.com, but you do have Blake Snell, and he will be going up against Chris Bassett. Now, Snell's back. He's been looking very, very good. It's God. Chris Bassett on the road. I'm going to say this is going to be the most sure thing we'll loss.
I don't like
in terms
that
of
at
matchups.
all, man. Yeah, it's kind of wild to say, but like Chris Bassett and maybe even Jose Barrios too are both in my like, I don't know,
They're in the
territory.
same tier for me. It's like yeah, obviously you're veteran guys that can give a lot of innings, but like any given day you can give it 4 or 5.
Yeah,
runs,
and it could just be one of those blow up days. And this Dodger lineup, dude, like Shohei and Freeman and Teo. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose that one. I think that Blake Snell's gonna cook us, and I do think that the Dodgers lineup is going to eat, and they will be at 68 wins, right alongside us.
Ooh, but I think we're going to win Game 3 because you know who's pitching in Game 3. You've got the power of Lauer. I got to give us a win somewhere, right? They are up against Yamamoto, though, so that's going to be quite
It's going to be difficult, yeah.
Very difficult. He's been healthy. He's been dominant. He's one of the Cy Young favorites over there in the National League. But, again, I think we could win the first game. We could win this one. Flipping the coin, 50-50. I'll say we take this one. How could I say we lose when the power of Lauer's on the mound, man?
That's the
charging
thing.
this team.
Yeah, I got to give the Toronto Blue Jays one win, and I do think that Eric Lauer is that guy. If he can dice up the LA Dodgers, I don't know how you don't have him in your playoff rotation at that point. Yamamoto is going to be a test, but so is Kershaw, and so is Snell, and that's why this team is World Series, or the reigning, World Series champions. Blue Jays lose 2, they win 1. I'll still be feeling good about this squad. I'll still think it's a great week going 4-2 on the road, right? And literally setting a franchise record against Colorado. So just don't get swept and play good fundamental ball to instill everyone with a bunch of confidence that you can handle playoff teams.
Yeah, that's it, guys. That's it. Also, I want to throw this in here for our next podcast. Let's get some mailbag questions into here. If you have any questions, we'll answer them on our show. We haven't had too many questions since the actual trade deadline. So if you want to go, submit your questions down below. We'll answer them on the next Blue Jays Today show next Friday.
Yeah, and folks, we'll be at Baseball Town later this evening.
That's right.
Keegan Matheson is going to be there. Ben Schulman is going to be there. Jesse Rubinoff is going to be there. We will be there. Scott from the Walk Off Podcast is going to be there. It's taking place at Left Field Brewery in Liberty Village. Starts at 8:30. So if you guys have no plans tonight and you're like, you know what, I want to go hang out with the lads. I want to go meet Keegan. I want to go meet Ben. I want to go, get after it on a Thursday because screw work on Friday, then come join us at Left Field Brewery. It should be a really fun time, and comment down below if you are going to be showing up.
Hey, and apparently Buck Martinez is back on the call. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Is a good update right there.
Go.
Folks, thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to hit that like, smash the subscribe button. Of course, let us know your thoughts down below. $4 a month become a YouTube member. Shouldn't thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are so appreciated.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
Go Jays, go!